Bible Byte, Cain and Abel. The main characters in this story are Cain and Abel. They are the sons of Adam and Eve. You remember Adam and Eve. Perfect couple made in the garden, messed it all up for everybody, got kicked out. Yeah, that Adam and Eve. Cain and Abel were born after the kicking out of the garden incident. Cain was a farmer like his father, and Abel was a shepherd. Let me put a pin here. Cain was clearly the firstborn, but we don't know how much older he is than Abel. We also shouldn't assume that they were the only children born at that time. When reading the Genesis account, we have to be careful not to read into the text what it doesn't say, or read it with a 21st century Western civilization eye. Pen is removed. So one day it was time to bring God an offering. Cain brought God some fruit, nuts, and other assorted things that he had harvested. God looked at what he brought and was like, "Are you serious? Man, you must think I'm some raggedy God that you bring me some old peanut shells and other leftover joints. Hey, does that apple have a bite taken out of it? Bruh, I'm not trying to snap on you, but this offering game is weak. This offering is unacceptable." Allow me to put a pin here. Some think that the issue was the fact that the offering was a harvest and not an animal. But grain offerings were an integral part of the sacrificial system that God later established with Israel. It wasn't a matter of what he brought, it's how you bring it. We've got to bring God our best with honor. And pin is removed. Then Abel slid up on the scene. He brought some choice portions of some firstborn lambs. Had some nice lamb chops with a honey glaze and a pomegranate reduction and some mac and cheese. Well, maybe not the mac and cheese, but he bought the really good cuts of lamb. God was like, "Yo, this look real good, real good. You took a great choice cut and the plating is on fleek. Presentation, A+. Oh man, now when Cain heard that, he was bent. God said, "Why you big mad over there, Cain? If your joint wasn't so raggedy, you would have got an A2. Do right, be accepted. Do raggedy, get carried. That's how it go. So fix your face and watch your back. Cause sin trying to get you to wild out, my boy. You gotta keep your head on a swivel out here in these streets." So one day, Cain said, "Hey, Abel, come go with me to this field. I need your help." Abel was like, "All right, let's go." When they got to the field, Abel said, "What you need help with, bruh? What's that you putting on?" Cain said, "A glove and a mask. I ain't trying to get no DNA on me." Abel said, "What's DNA?" Cain said, "Don't worry about it. Hey, look over there." And then Cain jumped on his brother and punished him. Or he beat him like he stole something. He beat him like Tyson did Michael Spinks. Or worse, he did him like Stone and Robin them did Cochise and Cooley High. Or like they did Nicky Santoro in Casino. It didn't end good for Abel. And we have the first 187 in history. Now later on that day, Cain is out here checking on his fruits and crops, etc. And God pulls up. God says, "Hey Cain, where your brother?" Cain said, "I don't know. Maybe he with them sheep. That boy really liked them sheep." God said, "Cain." Cain said, "What?" Or maybe he over with them other things. He got these things called llamas. They look like sheep, but they got long necks. It's really weird. God said, "Cain." Cain said, "What?" "Listen, we ain't CMB. I'm not my brother's keeper." God said, "Cain, Cain, Cain, you out here committing straight murder. Your brother's blood cries out to me. It's calling me. Man, I literally told you that if you didn't check yourself, you was gonna wreck yourself. And now, guess what? You gotta roll." Cain said, "Roll?" God said, yeah, and all that farming and crop raising you've been doing, it's a wrap, bruh. The ground don't work for you no more. Get your stuff and let's go. Cain said, no, you put me out there in them streets and I gotta be away from you. Ooh, that's too much. I can't take it. And what's gonna happen once I'm out there in them streets? You know they're gonna try to catch me slipping. You know them dudes gonna be trying to come get me, all of them. God was like, you a cold bammer, but I ain't gonna let them snuff you. It'll be 7 times worse for anybody who kills Cain. So God put a mark on him so that would nobody kill him. Now maybe it was a brand, or maybe he gave him a patch, or maybe he gave him like a helmet or something. But whatever it is, God was true to his word, and he gave him a mark, and it kept him from being killed. And so Cain had to gather up his belongings, and he had to go east. He went to Nod. Now don't sleep on Nod. Next thing we hear, Cain was out there knocking the boots with his wife. And they had a son named Enoch. And then Cain built a whole city named after his son Enoch. I think it was called Enochville. All right, so let me put a pin here. There are some major questions about where Cain got his wife. And there are typically 2 schools of thought. The first is that after God made Adam and Eve, he made some more people in other places. And that these are the people that Cain eventually rolled up on, fell in with. The problem with the other people theory is that they're not from Adam, so they wouldn't bear Adam's sin burden. The Bible says all have sinned. The Bible says that because of one man, Adam, all of us were lost. Now, the second theory says that Cain took his sister or his niece to be his wife. Now, in one of the Hebrew Torahs, it says that Adam and Eve gave birth to Cain and Abel, and they also had twin sisters. I don't remember the sisters' names. I think it was Moesha and Kokesha. And so they had those twin sisters, and one of the things that they say caused an issue was because Cain wanted to be with Abel's twin sister. And so that's where some of that beef came from. Whatever the case, this story happens 130, maybe 150 years after the fall. Now listen, my great-grandmother had 12 kids before she was 40. So Eve, with a body that still had a whole different level of vigor than we have today, in 130 years, she'd have had a rack of babies. And them babies would have been having babies. And so on and so on. And so the idea of incest is appalling to us, but it's very different in Middle Eastern eyes from that time period. So we can't look at it with Western 2022 eyes. So we won't know for sure, but I tend to believe that the theory was Adam and Eve cranked out a bunch of children, and them children had children, and the boys got with the girls, and the girls had babies, and so on and so on. Pin is removed. So Adam and Eve decided they were going to have another son to replace Abel. And they named him Seth. Bible says that they had a gang of more children, and more children, a rack of them. Adam lived to be 930. So in 900 years, I can't even tell you how many babies they probably cranked out. But from the line of Seth came the people who began to call on the Lord by his name. This has been Bible Byte, Cain and Abel.